The Galactic Council had one rule that never changed. Every new species must be scanned before first contact. For 10,000 years, this rule kept the galaxy safe. Commander ZYX had done this job 847 times before. He never failed once. Today was different. His ship entered the solar system on a quiet morning. Earth was spinning below like a blue marble. ZYX looked at his crew with confidence. His engineer checked the power detector. Everything was ready. This was supposed to be simple. The scanner turned on. Numbers appeared on the screen. They started climbing. ZYX smiled. Normal readings always started slow. But these numbers did not slow down. They climbed faster, then faster. The engineer's eyes went wide. His hands started shaking. The machine made a sound nobody heard before. A high screaming noise that hurt their ears. Red lights flashed across the control room. The numbers kept climbing higher and higher. 3 seconds passed. The scanner hit maximum. ZYX jumped from his chair. This was impossible. Maximum level meant a species could destroy planets. Maximum meant war machines and weapons beyond imagination. Maximum meant danger. But Earth looked so peaceful below. The engineer pulled the scanner plug. Smoke came out from the sides. He looked at ZYX with fear in his eyes. He said the words that changed everything. "Sir, this machine never broke before." ZYX felt cold. His hands were sweating. He ordered the crew to run the scan again. Maybe it was just an error. Maybe the machine was old. They connected a backup scanner. The newest model they had. The second scan started. The same thing happened, but faster this time. 2 seconds and the machine hit maximum again. Then it started smoking too. The backup scanner died, just like the first one. The crew was silent. ZYX walked to the window. He looked down at Earth. Small cities. Tiny oceans. Peaceful clouds floating by. What kind of monsters lived down there? What kind of power could break their best technology? These scanners measured gods and demons before. They measured species that could move mountains. But they never broke. His second officer asked the question everyone was thinking. "Sir, what do we do now?" ZYX made his decision. They would go down to Earth. But they would go carefully. Very carefully. They would wear full combat armor. They would bring every weapon they had. They would not take any chances. Because if humans had this much power while resting, if this was their normal state, without even trying, then what happens when they actually use their strength? That thought terrified him more than anything in his long career. The alien ship landed in Central Park, New York on a Tuesday morning. People stopped jogging to watch. Children pointed at the sky with excitement. ZYX expected panic and screaming. Instead, humans were taking pictures with their phones. This made no sense. The ship door opened slowly. ZYX stepped out first wearing full battle armor. His weapon was charged and ready. Behind him, 6 soldiers followed in formation. Their scanners were still showing maximum power readings from somewhere nearby. But where was the threat? A man in a blue suit walked toward them. He was smiling and holding a briefcase. No armor. No weapons. No fear on his face. ZYX raised his weapon slightly. The man kept walking closer. "Good morning and welcome to Earth." ZYX could not believe what he was hearing. This human was greeting them like old friends. The man extended his hand forward. ZYX looked at his crew. Nobody knew what to do. His engineer whispered that this might be a trap. The human kept smiling. "My name is David Chun. I am with the United Nations. We are happy to meet you." ZYX slowly reached out his hand. Their hands touched. David gripped and shook firmly. Pain shot through ZYX's arm like lightning. His bones felt like they would crack. The handshake lasted 3 seconds, but felt like forever. When David let go, ZYX pulled his hand back fast. His scanner beeped loudly. The reading showed that simple handshake had the force of their strongest warrior's full punch. David did not even notice. He just kept smiling. "Sorry that I squeezed too hard." ZYX could not speak. He looked at his hand. Nothing was broken, but everything hurt. This human just crushed his hand while greeting him peacefully. What kind of species does this without even knowing? David gestured toward a table under a tree. "Please sit." We brought coffee and donuts for you. Coffee and donuts. After breaking their scanner. After nearly crushing his hand. This human offered them breakfast. ZYX's second officer checked the food with a scanner. The coffee showed toxin levels that could kill most species. The donuts had enough sugar to poison a Krieg warrior. You eat this every day. David laughed while pouring coffee into cups. Every morning. Sometimes twice a day. Helps us wake up. ZYX watched David drink the poison like it was water. Other humans nearby were doing the same thing. Jogging. Walking dogs. Drinking coffee. All of them showing power readings that made no sense. A woman ran past carrying a baby and groceries. Her power reading was higher than his ship's security chief. She was just going home from shopping. An old man sat on a bench feeding birds. His reading showed he could bend steel with bare hands. But he just sat there peacefully watching pigeons. A child kicked a soccer ball. The ball flew, so fast it would break through ship walls. But it just rolled across grass normally. None of them knew their own strength. ZYX realized something terrifying. These humans lived their whole lives holding back without knowing it. They were gentle because they chose to be, not because they had to be. Every handshake could break bones. Every hug could crush ribs. Every step could crack ground. But they controlled it perfectly. David offered ZYX a donut. Please try it. They are fresh this morning. ZYX looked at the food, then at David's smile, then at all the humans around him living normal, peaceful lives while being walking weapons. He finally understood why their scanner broke. It was not designed to measure power that pretends to be weakness. ZYX had to see more. He needed to understand how humans lived every single day. David made a phone call and found a volunteer. A construction worker named Jake agreed to let them follow him to work. Jake arrived in a red truck at 6 in the morning. He was drinking coffee from a metal cup. He wore a yellow hard hat and boots covered in dirt. He shook ZYX's hand the same way David did. ZYX was ready this time, but it still hurt, ready to see some real work. They followed Jake to a building site in downtown Manhattan. 50 floors of steel and concrete rising into the sky. Jake parked his truck and grabbed his tool belt. ZYX's engineer scanned the belt. It weighed 40 kilograms. Jake put it on like it was nothing. The work started immediately. Jake walked to a pile of steel beams on the ground. Each beam was 6 meters long and thick as a tree. Jake bent down and lifted one beam onto his shoulder. He carried it across the site like it was made of plastic. ZYX's scanner beeped loudly. That beam weighs 200 kilograms. Jake heard him and laughed. Yet this is a light one. Wait until lunch. We move the heavy stuff then. Heavy stuff. This human just called 200 kilograms light. ZYX watched Jake carry 5 more beams in 10 minutes. No machine. No help. Just his arms and legs. Other workers were doing the same thing all around them. Moving steel. Carrying concrete bags. Lifting equipment. All of them were talking and joking while working. Jake started climbing. No elevator. Just a ladder going straight up the side of the building. 40 floors high. He climbed with his tool belt still on. ZYX and his crew took the construction elevator because they could not make that climb. When they reached the top, Jake was already working. He was not breathing hard, not sweating, not tired at all. He was connecting steel beams together with a welding torch. Sparks flew everywhere. The heat would melt alien skin, but Jake just wore normal clothes and safety glasses. 12 o'clock came fast. Lunchtime. Jake sat on a steel beam hanging over the edge of the building. His legs dangled in the air 40 floors above the ground. He opened a lunchbox and started eating. ZYX scanned the food. His screen showed deadly readings. That sandwich is bacteria that could kill my entire crew. Jake took a big bite and smiled. It is 3 days old. Still good, though. My wife makes the best sandwiches. 3 days old. Room temperature. Covered in bacteria. Jake ate it happily while sitting on a beam that ZYX was too scared to walk across. Another worker joined Jake for lunch. She was smaller than Jake, but her power reading was even higher. Her name was Maria. She opened a small bottle and poured red liquid on her food. The smell hit ZYX immediately. His eyes started burning. His engineer checked the bottle with the scanner. The reading showed extreme danger. That liquid has a toxin level of 9,000 units. Maria looked at the bottle and laughed. Oh, this. It is just hot sauce. You want to try some? She offered the bottle to ZYX's second officer. He was curious and stupid. He took one small drop on his finger. He touched it to his tongue. 3 seconds later, he fell down unconscious. His body could not handle it. Maria jumped up worried. Oh no, I am so sorry. Is he okay? Other humans heard the noise. A paramedic ran up the ladder in under 2 minutes. She carried a medical kit that weighed 80 kilograms. She did not use the elevator. She just ran up 40 floors of ladder like it was a normal staircase. She checked ZYX's officer and gave him medicine. He woke up slowly. He will be fine. Just keep him away from spicy food. Spicy food? This human just poisoned an alien warrior with lunch condiments. And another human ran up 40 floors carrying emergency equipment without stopping to breathe. Jake patted ZYX on the shoulder. Do not worry, friend. You get used to it. Get used to it. ZYX looked around the construction site. Humans lifting tons of steel, climbing impossible heights, eating poison, working in heat and cold and danger, all while laughing and talking like it was easy. Jake finished his sandwich and stood up. He stretched his arms and yawned. Break time is over. Back to work. You staying for the afternoon. We are pouring concrete on floor 30. ZYX could not speak. He just nodded. His crew was exhausted from watching. But Jake and the other humans were just getting started. Their workday was only half done. ZYX could not sleep that night. His mind kept replaying everything he saw. Regular humans lifting steel, eating poison, climbing heights that would kill his species. If regular civilians had this much power, then what about trained soldiers? He had to know. The next morning, David arranged a visit to Fort Bragg military base in North Carolina. The drive took 3 hours. ZYX watched humans the entire time. People driving cars at speeds that would terrify most species. Children playing sports that looked like combat training. Elderly people gardening and moving bags of soil that weighed 50 kilograms. Everyone was casually superhuman. They arrived at the base at 9 in the morning. A general named Sarah Martinez met them at the gate. She was short compared to other humans, maybe 160 centimeters tall. But her power reading was the highest ZYX had seen yet. She smiled and shook his hand gently. Welcome to Fort Bragg. I hear you want to see what our soldiers can do. ZYX nodded carefully. His hand was still sore from all the handshakes. General Martinez led them to a training field. 50 soldiers stood in formation, wearing gray shirts and black shorts. They looked calm and ready. This is just our morning warm-up routine. Warm-up. The word made ZYX nervous. A whistle blew loudly. The soldiers started running. Not jogging. Full speed running. They completed 1 lap around the field in under 2 minutes. The field was 800 meters around. They did not stop after 1 lap. They kept running. 5 laps total. For kilometers in under 10 minutes. Every soldier finished. None of them fell down. None of them quit. When they finished, they were breathing hard but still standing strong. ZYX's crew needed to sit down just from watching. That was the warm-up. General Martinez walked them to an obstacle course. Walls 3 meters high. Ropes hanging over mud pits. Metal bars to climb. Barbed wire to crawl under. The same 50 soldiers started the course. They climbed walls without ladders. They swung across ropes like it was a game. They crawled under wire carrying 30-kilogram backpacks. The fastest soldier finished in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. ZYX scanned him when he crossed the finish line. His heart rate was only slightly elevated. He was not exhausted. He was barely tired. The soldier saw ZYX staring and smiled. Good morning, sir. Beautiful day for training. Beautiful day. This human just completed a course that would break ZYX's best warriors, and he called it beautiful. General Martinez checked her watch and nodded to another officer. Time for combat drills. They moved to a training building. 2 soldiers entered a padded room. They wore no armor, no weapons, just gloves and mouth guards. They bowed to each other respectfully. Then they started fighting. ZYX had seen combat before. He watched wars across the galaxy. But this was different. These soldiers moved faster than his eyes could follow. Punches, kicks, throws, blocks. Every movement was precise and powerful. The impact sounds echoed like thunder. His engineer tried to record the fight, but the scanner kept overloading. The power levels were breaking the measuring system again. After 3 minutes, both soldiers stopped. They hugged each other and laughed. No anger, no hatred, just training. One soldier had a small cut on his eyebrow. Blood dripped down his face. He wiped it with his hand and smiled. Good round, brother. You got me with that elbow. They walked out together like best friends. ZYX could not understand it. They just tried to hurt each other. Now, they were joking and smiling. General Martinez explained while walking, "We train hard, but we are family. Pain is temporary. Brotherhood is forever." The next test was marksmanship. A shooting range stretched out for 1,000 meters. Targets were placed at different distances. A young soldier stepped up to the firing line. She loaded her rifle and looked through the scope. Target is at 800 meters. Wind from the east at 15 kilometers per hour. She fired 5 shots in 10 seconds. All 5 hit the center of the target. ZYX's second officer checked with their scanner. The target was so far away it was hard to see even with alien technology. But this human hit it perfectly with just her eyes and a basic weapon. How is this possible? You have no computer assistance. The soldier looked confused. Computer assistance? No, sir. Just iron sights and training. Anyone can do this with practice. Anyone. She said anyone could do this. ZYX knew that was not true. Most species in the galaxy needed advanced technology to shoot that far, but humans did it with practice and iron sights. General Martinez saved the best for last. They walked to a vehicle depot. Tanks and trucks were parked in rows. A maintenance crew was working on a damaged tank. One of the tracks had come off. Normally, this required a crane and 4 crew members. But ZYX watched one human lift the track alone. The track weighed over 200 kilograms. The soldier picked it up, carried it 10 meters, and attached it back to the tank. He was sweating, but he did it. When he finished, he saw the aliens watching. He waved and smiled. Just another day at work. General Martinez looked at ZYX with pride in her eyes. These are regular army soldiers. Standard infantry. Normal men and women who joined to serve their country. ZYX felt dizzy. Regular soldiers. Standard infantry. These were not the best. These were not special forces. These were just normal human warriors. He had to ask the question, even though he was afraid of the answer. General Martinez, do you have special forces? Her smile grew wider. Of course we do. Would you like to meet them? ZYX looked at his crew. They all looked terrified. He looked back at the general. He knew he should say no. He knew they had seen enough. But he had to know the truth. ZYX needed a break from watching humans do impossible things. His mind was overloaded with information. David suggested visiting the New York Public Library, a quiet place to think and rest. That was a mistake. The library was huge and filled with millions of books. ZYX walked through the aisles looking at titles. History, science, medicine, war, philosophy, thousands of years of human knowledge stored on paper. He pulled out a book randomly. World War II by John Keegan. He sat down and started reading. The first page made him stop breathing. 60 million humans died in one war. 60 million. That number was larger than most species populations in the galaxy. But humans kept fighting for 6 years. They fought each other. ZYX read faster. Humans built weapons to kill other humans. Bombs that could destroy entire cities. Guns that fired hundreds of bullets per minute. Tanks, planes, ships, all designed by humans to fight humans. The war spread across the entire planet, and they survived it. He put that book down and grabbed another one. The Black Death. A disease that killed half of Europe in 5 years. 50 million dead. But humans did not go extinct. They buried their dead. They kept farming. They kept building. They survived and grew stronger. Another book, The Mongol Invasions. Genghis Khan conquered half the known world. Millions died. Cities burned. Empires fell. But humans rebuilt everything. They learned from the invasion. They adapted. They continued. Book after book showed the same pattern. Ice ages that froze the planet. Humans survived. Volcanoes that blocked out the sun. Humans survived. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, droughts, famines, plagues. Humans survived everything their planet threw at them. Then ZYX found a book called Survival Stories. He read about Stephen Callahan, lost at sea for 76 days on a small raft. No food, no water, surrounded by sharks. He survived by catching fish with his hands and drinking rainwater, rescued, and lived to tell the story. He read about Aaron Ralston, trapped in a canyon with his arm crushed under a boulder, stuck for 5 days. No rescue coming. He cut off his own arm with a dull knife to escape. Then he climbed out and hiked for help. He survived. He read about Julianne Koepke. Fell 3,000 meters from an airplane when it exploded. She was 17 years old. She landed in the Amazon rainforest alone. Walked for 11 days through jungle with broken bones and infections. Found help and survived. These were not soldiers. These were regular humans who refused to die. ZYX found the medical section next. He learned that humans survived diseases that would kill his species in hours. Smallpox, polio, tuberculosis, cholera. Humans caught these diseases and many died, but many also survived. Then human doctors created vaccines and cured them. They fought invisible enemies and won. The space exploration section shocked him most. Humans went to space in the 1960s with computers less powerful than their modern phones. They strapped themselves to controlled explosions and flew to their moon. 3 humans died in a fire during training. The program continued. More humans volunteered. They were not afraid. ZYX read about the Apollo 13 mission. Explosion in space. Oxygen running out. Power failing. 3 astronauts trapped in a dying ship. Everyone thought they would die. But human engineers on Earth worked for 4 days without sleep. They solved impossible problems with basic materials. The astronauts came home safely. Humans did not accept death as an answer. He found children's stories next. Tales of young humans surviving impossible situations. A 14-year-old girl named Malala shot in the head for wanting education. She survived and kept fighting. A boy named Iqbal escaped slavery and fought to free other children. Murdered at age 12, but his message lived on. Even their children were warriors. ZYX sat back in his chair. His hands were shaking. The library was quiet around him. Humans walked past reading books and studying. They had no idea how terrifying their own history was. Generation after generation faced extinction, war, disease, disaster. Nature itself tried to kill them. But humans never stopped fighting back. They did not just survive. They thrived. They grew stronger with every challenge. They turned their planet from a death world into a garden. They cured diseases. They ended wars. They went to space. They did all of this while fighting each other and their own planet at the same time. ZYX finally understood why their scanner broke. The machine measured physical power, strength, speed, durability, but it could not measure will. It could not measure determination. It could not measure the human refusal to quit even when quitting made sense. That was the real power that maxed out their scanners. The unbreakable human spirit. He stood up and walked to find David. He needed to make an emergency call to the Galactic Council. They needed to know the truth about humans, not just their strength, but their history, their survival, their choice to be peaceful when they could easily be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. David was waiting outside the library drinking coffee. He smiled when he saw ZYX. "Did you find what you were looking for?" ZYX looked at this human, this peaceful man in a suit who could probably survive being thrown into a star. He nodded slowly. I found the truth. Humans are not strong because of genetics. You are strong because your planet tried to kill you for millions of years and you refused to die. David's smile faded. He looked serious the first time. He nodded once. Earth is not a kind mother. She is a harsh teacher. We learned or we died. Most of us learned. ZYX felt cold. Most species evolved on peaceful planets. Gentle worlds with abundant food and safety. Humans evolved in hell and learned to call a home. That was the difference. ZYX was writing his report when the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across his ship. His crew ran to their stations. Something big was coming. The scanner showed 50 warships dropping out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. The Krell Empire had arrived. ZYX felt his blood turn cold. The Krell were the most feared warriors in the galaxy. They conquered 47 star systems in the last century. They never negotiated. They never showed mercy. They only knew war. And they were here for Earth. David's phone rang within seconds. Military alerts went out across the planet. ZYX watched as human cities activated defense systems. Satellites moved into position. Military bases went to full combat readiness. All of this happened in under 5 minutes. Humans were fast when threatened. The Krell commander sent a message to Earth. His face appeared on every screen. Scales like black armor, eyes like red fire, teeth sharp as knives. He spoke in a voice that rumbled like thunder. Humans of Earth, your planet is now property of the Krell Empire. Surrender immediately or we will take it by force. You have 1 hour to comply. The message ended. Silence filled the air for 10 seconds. Then David's phone rang again. He answered and listened. His face stayed calm. He hung up and looked at ZYX. Our president wants to meet the Krell commander, face to face, in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. ZYX could not believe it. Humans were not running, not hiding, not begging for help. They wanted to meet their enemy face to face. The Krell commander accepted the meeting. He probably wanted to watch humans beg. He was very wrong. The meeting happened on a neutral space station between Earth and the Krell fleet. The Krell commander brought 10 guards, all of them 3 meters tall, all of them covered in weapons and armor. They looked unstoppable. Then the human delegation arrived. General Martinez walked in first. Behind her 5 soldiers in simple uniforms. No heavy armor. No massive weapons. They looked tiny compared to the Krell warriors. The Krell commander laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. You bring children to face the Krell Empire. General Martinez smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was a smile of someone who knew a secret. She walked right up to the Krell commander. She was half his size, but she did not look afraid. We bring soldiers. You bring bullies. There is a difference. The Krell commander stopped laughing. He leaned down close to her face. His breath smelled like sulfur and death. He raised one massive hand. Claws extended. I could kill you right now, human. General Martinez did not move. She looked into his red eyes without blinking. You could try. Those 2 words changed everything. The Krell commander saw something in her eyes. Something he did not expect. No fear. No doubt. Just absolute confidence. He pulled his hand back slowly. You have 1 hour to surrender. After that we attack. General Martinez turned and walked away. Her soldiers followed. The meeting was over. ZYX followed him back to Earth. His hands were shaking. War was coming. The Krell had 50 warships. Earth had maybe 20. The numbers did not favor humanity. But numbers did not tell the whole story. 1 hour passed. The Krell fleet moved into attack position. Their weapons powered up. Their shields activated. The commander sent one final message. Your time is up, humans. Prepare to die. General Martinez responded with 3 words. How about no? The battle started. Krell warships opened fire. Their weapons were designed to crack planets. But human ships moved faster than expected. They dodged. They weaved. They fired back with precision. Every shot hit exactly where it needed to. The Krell had never fought enemies as accurate. ZYX watched from his ship in orbit. The battle was unlike anything he ever saw. Human pilots flew their ships like they were part of their own bodies, spinning, rolling, attacking from impossible angles. One human fighter destroyed 3 Krell ships before taking any damage. On the ground, humans prepared for invasion. Soldiers moved into position. Civilians evacuated smoothly. No panic. No chaos. Everyone knew their job. Children helped elderly people to shelters. Teenagers carried supplies. Adults coordinated defense points. The entire species moved as one. Krell troop ships tried to land in major cities. Human surface weapons destroyed most of them before they touched ground. But 3 ships made it through. Krell warriors poured out ready to conquer. They had done this 100 times before. This time was different. Human soldiers met them in the streets. The Krell expected easy victory. They were bigger, stronger, more experienced in war. But humans did not fight like other species. They used their environment. Buildings became cover. Streets became traps. Every human fought like they were defending their family. Because they were. The battle lasted 47 minutes. The Krell had never retreated from a battle in their entire history. Today they broke that record. Their commander sent a withdrawal signal. His fleet limped away from Earth. Half his ships were damaged or destroyed. His ground forces were defeated. The mighty Krell Empire ran away from humans. After the battle ended, ZYX expected celebration, victory parades, boasting and pride. Instead, he saw something else. Human medics were treating wounded Krell prisoners, giving them medicine, bandaging their injuries, saving their lives. A Krell warrior looked at the human doctor confused. "Why do you help us?" "We tried to kill you." The doctor kept working on his wounds. She did not look angry. "Because the fight is over. You are not my enemy anymore. You are my patient." ZYX finally understood everything. Humans were not powerful because they could fight. Every species could fight. Humans were powerful because they chose when to fight and when to heal. They could destroy their enemies completely, but they chose mercy instead. That was true strength. ZYX sent his final report to the Galactic Council. He did not recommend studying humans. He did not recommend alliance. He recommended something else entirely. We should grant Earth protected status immediately. The Council responded within hours. Protected status is for endangered species. Why would humans need protection? ZYX wrote back with shaking hands. Not protection for them. Protection for US. We need protection from angering them. Because today we saw what happens when humans actually try, and they were still holding back. The report ended with one final note. A warning for the entire galaxy. The scanner did not malfunction. It could not measure what makes humans truly dangerous. Not their strength or speed or weapons. It could not measure their choice to be kind when they could be cruel, to build when they could destroy, to forgive when they could take revenge. That choice is what broke our machine. Because power without control is just destruction. But power with mercy is something else entirely. It is humanity. 1 year passed since the Krell attack on Earth. ZYX returned to the solar system, but this time everything was different. His ship was not alone. Behind him came 30 vessels from different species across the galaxy. All of them wanted to meet humans properly. The war changed everyone's mind about Earth. News of the battle spread fast through the Galactic Council. How humans defeated the Krell in 47 minutes. How they showed mercy to their defeated enemies. How they chose healing over revenge. Species that feared humans now respected them. Species that ignored Earth now wanted friendship. The galaxy was learning what ZYX already knew. David met them at the same park, where they first landed. He looked older, but his smile was the same. He shook ZYX's hand gently this time. No pain, no crushing grip, just a friendly greeting between old friends. "Welcome back, Commander. We missed you." ZYX looked around the park. Children were playing. People were jogging. Dogs were chasing balls. Everything looked exactly the same as 1 year ago. Like a galactic war never happened. Like the Krell never threatened their existence. Humans moved on so easily. The other alien ambassadors stepped off their ships nervously. They had all heard stories. Humans who lifted steel beams. Humans who ate poison. Humans who survived their own planet trying to kill them. They expected to meet fierce warriors. Instead, they met Jake, the same construction worker from 1 year ago, still wearing his yellow hard hat, still drinking coffee, still smiling like he had no worries. He walked up to the nearest ambassador and extended his hand. "Hey there, name is Jake. Welcome to Earth." The ambassador was from the Threen Collective, a species of scientists and philosophers, very smart but very weak physically. She looked at Jake's hand like it was a weapon. ZYX quickly explained, "Do not worry. He will be gentle. Humans are always gentle with guests." Jake laughed and shook her hand softly. "No pain, no pressure, just kindness." The ambassador relaxed immediately. Other humans arrived to greet the other ambassadors. Teachers, doctors, artists, engineers, normal people living normal lives. Not soldiers, not warriors, just humans. David organized a tour of Earth for all the visitors. They went to schools and watched children learning. They went to hospitals and saw doctors healing. They went to farms and watched food growing. They went to concerts and heard music playing. Every place showed the same thing. Humans building instead of destroying. One ambassador asked the question everyone was thinking. A tall creature from the Velen Empire. His people were traders and merchants, always looking for advantage. Why did you not conquer the Krell after defeating them? You had the power. You had the right. They attacked you first. General Martinez was leading the tour that day. She stopped walking and turned to face him. Her expression was serious, but not angry, because conquest is easy. Any species with weapons can conquer, but building peace is hard. Teaching enemies to become friends takes real strength. We chose the harder path. The ambassador did not understand. His culture valued profit and victory. Mercy seemed like weakness to him. General Martinez saw his confusion. She gestured to a nearby playground. Watch those children playing. Different races, different religions, different backgrounds. But they play together. They share toys. They help each other. That is the world we want. Not just for humans. For everyone. The tour continued to the Medical Research Center. Human scientists were working on cures for diseases from other planets. Free research. No payment required. They shared their findings with anyone who asked. The Threen ambassador was shocked. You give this knowledge away for free. You could charge billions of credits. A human scientist looked up from her microscope. She was young, maybe 25 years old. She smiled while explaining. Money is temporary. Knowledge is forever. If we can help someone survive, then we help. That is what humans do. That phrase kept repeating. That is what humans do. Help, build, heal, share, teach. Every human they met said something similar. It was not just policy. It was their nature. ZYX realized something important. Humans did not become peaceful after the war. They were always peaceful. They just proved they could also be dangerous when necessary. That combination terrified and inspired the galaxy. The final stop was a United Nations building. Every ambassador was invited inside. A special meeting was arranged. The Secretary General stood at the podium, an older woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Today we welcome you not as strangers, but as potential friends. Earth has one message for the galaxy. We seek peace, but we will defend ourselves. We offer friendship, but we will not be conquered. We share knowledge, but we will not be exploited. We are human, and we choose to be kind. But never mistake kindness for weakness. 1 year later, the galaxy changed forever because humans showed mercy. 1 year passed since the Krell attack on Earth. ZYX returned to the solar system, but this time everything was different. His ship was not alone. Behind him came 30 vessels from different species across the galaxy. All of them wanted to meet humans properly. The war changed everyone's mind about Earth. News of the battle spread fast through the Galactic Council. How humans defeated the Krell in 47 minutes. How they showed mercy to their defeated enemies. how they chose healing over revenge. Species that feared humans now respected them. Species that ignored Earth now wanted friendship. The galaxy was learning what ZYX already knew. David met them at the same park, where they first landed. He looked older, but his smile was the same. He shook ZYX's hand gently this time. No pain, no crushing grip, just a friendly greeting between old friends. Welcome back, Commander. We missed you. ZYX looked around the park. Children were playing. People were jogging. Dogs were chasing balls. Everything looked exactly the same as 1 year ago. Like a galactic war never happened. Like the Krell never threatened their existence. Humans moved on so easily. The other alien ambassadors stepped off their ships nervously. They had all heard stories. Humans who lifted steel beams. Humans who ate poison. Humans who survived their own planet trying to kill them. They expected to meet fierce warriors. Instead, they met Jake, the same construction worker from 1 year ago, still wearing his yellow hard hat, still drinking coffee, still smiling like he had no worries. He walked up to the nearest ambassador and extended his hand. Hey there, name is Jake. Welcome to Earth. The ambassador was from the Threen Collective, a species of scientists and philosophers. Very smart, but very weak physically. She looked at Jake's hand like it was a weapon. ZYX quickly explained. Do not worry. He will be gentle. Humans are always gentle with guests. Jake laughed and shook her hand softly. No pain, no pressure, just kindness. The ambassador relaxed immediately. Other humans arrived to greet the other ambassadors. Teachers, doctors, artists, engineers. Normal people living normal lives. Not soldiers, not warriors. Just humans. David organized a tour of Earth for all the visitors. They went to schools and watched children learning. They went to hospitals and saw doctors healing. They went to farms and watched food growing. They went to concerts and heard music playing. Every place showed the same thing. Humans building instead of destroying. One ambassador asked the question everyone was thinking. A tall creature from the Velen Empire. His people were traders and merchants, always looking for advantage. Why did you not conquer the Krell after defeating them? You had the power. You had the right. They attacked you first. General Martinez was leading the tour that day. She stopped walking and turned to face him. Her expression was serious, but not angry, because conquest is easy. Any species with weapons can conquer, but building peace is hard. Teaching enemies to become friends takes real strength. We chose the harder path. The ambassador did not understand. His culture valued profit and victory. Mercy seemed like weakness to him. General Martinez saw his confusion. She gestured to a nearby playground. Watch those children playing. Different races, different religions, different backgrounds. But they play together. They share toys. They help each other. That is the world we want. Not just for humans. For everyone. The tour continued to the Medical Research Center. Human scientists were working on cures for diseases from other planets. Free research. No payment required. They shared their findings with anyone who asked. The Threen ambassador was shocked. You give this knowledge away for free. You could charge billions of credits. A human scientist looked up from her microscope. She was young, maybe 25 years old. She smiled while explaining. Money is temporary. Knowledge is forever. If we can help someone survive, then we help. That is what humans do. That phrase kept repeating. That is what humans do. Help, build, heal, share, teach. Every human they met said something similar. It was not just policy. It was their nature. ZYX realized something important. Humans did not become peaceful after the war. They were always peaceful. They just proved they could also be dangerous when necessary. That combination terrified and inspired the galaxy. The final stop was a United Nations building. Every ambassador was invited inside. A special meeting was arranged. The Secretary General stood at the podium. An older woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Today we welcome you not as strangers, but as potential friends. Earth has one message for the galaxy. We seek peace, but we will defend ourselves. We offer friendship, but we will not be conquered. We share knowledge, but we will not be exploited. We are human, and we choose to be kind. But never mistake kindness for weakness. The room was silent. Every ambassador understood the message. Humans were extending an invitation. Join us in peace, or leave us alone. Those were the only two options. Attack was no longer on the table. After the speech, David took ZYX aside privately. They walked to a quiet garden behind the building. David poured coffee for both of them. ZYX had learned to drink it over the past year. It still tasted like poison, but he was getting used to it. Thank you for coming back, Commander. It means a lot to us. ZYX sipped his coffee slowly. He chose his words carefully. I had come back. I needed to see if humans changed after the war, after tasting victory. Some species become aggressive after winning. They want more conquest, more power. David nodded and waited. ZYX continued. But you did not change. You are still the same. Still kind. Still peaceful. Still dangerous when needed, but never cruel. That is why I brought these ambassadors. They needed to see the truth about humanity. David smiled and looked up at the sky. Ships from 30 different species orbited Earth peacefully. 1 year ago, only ZYX's ship dared come close. Now Earth had visitors every day. Scientists, traders, students, tourists, all coming to learn from humans. The galaxy was finally accepting Earth as family. ZYX finished his coffee and stood up. He had to return to the Galactic Council with his report. But this time his report was different. No warnings, no fear, just facts. Humans are ready to join the galactic community. They have proven themselves in war and in peace. They choose kindness over cruelty. They choose building over destroying. They are exactly what the galaxy needs right now. I recommend full membership status immediately. David shook his hand one final time. ZYX barely felt any pain now. Maybe he was getting stronger. Or maybe humans were learning to be even more gentle. Come back and visit anytime, Commander. You will always have friends on Earth. ZYX walked back to his ship. He looked at Earth one last time before leaving. A blue planet filled with impossible humans. Warriors who chose peace. Survivors who chose mercy. The strongest species in the galaxy who used their strength to help instead of hurt. The scanner was right all along. It hit maximum because it was measuring something beyond physical power. It measured the human spirit, the refusal to quit, the choice to be better. That power had no upper limit. That was why the machine broke.